Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast. We're thrilled to have you join us for another deep dive into the financial world. Today, we're tackling a question many of you have been asking. Is Palantir Technologies a good time to buy now? We've gathered some pretty comprehensive analysis, and our mission, as always, is to cut through the noise, pull out the most important insights, and help you understand what's truly important from all the information out there. Before we unpack this fascinating company, if you're finding these deep dives valuable, please take a moment to subscribe, like, and comment on this deep dive. It really helps us bring more of these analyses to you. If you're feeling extra generous, maybe consider buying us a coffee. Your support keeps this show going. So, Palantir Technologies, known for its data analytics platforms, right? Serving both government and commercial clients. But is it truly a compelling investment opportunity right now, or are there maybe significant concerns we need to be aware of? Our analysis suggests a bit of a mixed bag, wouldn't you say?
It absolutely does. Yeah, the analysis actually rates Palantir at a 6 out of 10. And that score, well, it suggests significant upside potential, but it's heavily tempered by substantial valuation concerns and multiple risk factors. It's described as, better suited for long-term investors rather than short-term traders. It requires near flawless execution to justify its current price levels. The big question really is, why is the assessment so cautious despite all that growth?
Okay, so the 6 out of 10 rating signals caution right from the start. But before we get too cautious, let's explore why anyone would even consider this stock. What are the core strengths driving Palantir's story?
We have to start with that revenue. It's been on an exceptional trajectory, hasn't it? It truly has been remarkable. We've seen consistent acceleration in revenue growth. It's quite something. For example, revenue grew 28.8% year over year to $2.87 billion in 2024. And that's building on a strong pattern from just $595 million back in 2018. More recently, the company achieved a remarkable 39% growth rate in Q1 2025 alone. That's $884 million in quarterly revenue. So this isn't just growth, it's a consistent upward climb. It really signals strong demand for their platforms.
That revenue growth is certainly fantastic. 39%. But often with these growth stories, financial health could be a hidden weakness, right? Does Palantir truly have the underlying strength and profitability to back up those impressive top-line numbers, or is it, growth at any cost?
That's a critical question. And the good news here is their financial health looks robust, pretty solid. They demonstrate strong cash generation, operating cash flow of $1.15 billion and free cash flow of $1.14 billion in 2024. That's significant cash. Now, they do have total debt of $239 million, but you have to weigh that against substantial stockholders' equity of $5.0 billion. Plus, they hold $2.1 billion in cash and cash equivalents. So that gives them significant financial flexibility, allows them to invest in future growth without relying heavily on, say, external funding.
Okay, so they're not drowning in debt. That's good.
Not at all. And their margins are impressive too. Gross margin at 80.2%, operating margin 10.8%, net margin 16.1%. And get this, their GAAP operating margin even hit 20% in Q1 2025. These numbers show pretty healthy underlying business operations.
So solid fundamentals, especially that revenue growth and cash generation. Check. But what truly sets Palantir apart? What gives them that, that competitive edge in such a crowded market?
Well, what's particularly compelling about Palantir is its position within a rapidly expanding market, the global data analytics software market. It's projected to grow from about $30.5 billion in 2023 to an astounding $135.6 billion by 2033.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a 16.2% compound annual growth rate. Imagine a market quadrupling in a decade. That's the kind of tailwind they have.
Okay, that's huge potential.
Exactly. And Palantir's competitive moat, its sustainable advantage, it seems to stem from several key factors. First, the specialized government contracts. They aren't just recurring revenue. They're like digital superglue. Once a government agency integrates Palantir, the cost and the pain of switching to a competitor is so immense, they're practically locked in. High switching costs.
Right, sticky customers.
Very sticky. Second, their AI platform, AAP, is gaining significant traction. Over 4,000 weekly active users showing real engagement. It's not just hype. And finally, their deep data integration capabilities are genuinely difficult for competitors to replicate. It's complex stuff.
That market growth and their unique advantages. It sounds like a recipe for success. But this leads us right to the part of the analysis that causes some real head-scratching for investors. The valuation. Huge disconnect. Feels like an understatement here, doesn't it? That PE of 558x. Is that rational at all? Are we really saying Palantir needs to be flawless, or are investors completely missing something?
It's a classic Wall Street paradox, isn't it? The valuation metrics, well, they definitely reveal significant overvaluation concerns. It suggests the market is certainly pricing in a very, very optimistic future. Palantir trades at a substantial premium across pretty much all metrics compared to competitors like Snowflake and CrowdStrike.
Okay, put that into context for us.
Sure, Palantir's PE of 568.4x. It isn't just high, it's a valuation that's pricing in years, maybe even decades, of perfect execution and exponential growth. The industry average is what, around 181.4x? So way off.
Yeah, big difference.
And their price to sales is 103.2x, again, substantially above sector norms. And with a market cap around $296 billion, Palantir ranks among the top 10 largest tech stocks in the US, but its revenue levels are substantially lower than peers with similar valuations. This implies that if they falter even slightly, the stock could face, significant pressure.
That's a huge hurdle for many investors to get past. I mean, high growth is one thing, but that kind of valuation implies almost perfection. Let's shift gears a bit and look at the technical position. What do the charts tell us? Where does Palantir stand right now?
Okay, technically, as of June 28, 2025, Palantir's current price is $130.74. It does exhibit high price volatility. 30-day annualized volatility is 54.2%, which honestly isn't surprising for a growth stock like this in this market.
Right, comes with the territory.
It does. Looking at key technical levels, we see primary support between $110 and $115. That's a zone suggesting strong institutional buying interest, maybe a floor. There's also a secondary, longer-term technical support down at $79.95. On the upside, immediate resistance is in the $142 to $146 range. Major resistance is $148 to $155. Those are the recent highs. The long-term technical target, based on the analysis, is $200.
$200, okay. And relative to moving averages?
Right now, it's slightly below its 20-day moving average by about 3.4%. That suggests a short-term pullback. But importantly, it remains above its 50-day moving average by 5.6%, indicating that the medium-term uptrend is still intact.
So the technical picture shows some near-term pullback, maybe some consolidation, but a strong longer-term trend is still holding. But in today's market, sentiment and breaking news can swing a stock wildly, right? Beyond the chart, what's truly driving the narrative right now? Are there powerful catalysts bubbling up, or is there quiet concern about hidden risks?
There are definitely some significant positive catalysts to talk about. A recent strategic partnership involves a $100 million nuclear infrastructure deal with the nuclear company.
Interesting.
Yeah, this shows Palantir expanding into critical infrastructure, positioning them to benefit from growing AI-driven energy demand. That's a big theme. We've also seen continued strength in federal contracts agreements with the Department of Defense, ICE. That provides a stable, predictable revenue base. And the traction of its AI platform, AIP, that's also a significant positive. Commercial revenue grew 71% year over year to $255 million. That's strong commercial adoption.
Okay, good momentum there. What about the analysts? What are they saying?
Well, when we look at analyst sentiment, it's quite mixed, all over the map, really.
Right.
The average price target ranges from $76.72 to $103.56 based on 25 analysts. There's a high estimate of $155 from Loop Capital, but there's also a surprisingly low estimate of $40 from RBC Capital.
$40? Wow, that's quite a range.
It really is. It shows the division. It's worth noting, though, multiple analysts did raise their price targets following the strong Q1 results, which is generally a positive sign.
You mentioned the mixed analyst sentiment, but what about insider activity? That's often a red flag for investors, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially if executives are selling off shares.
It is, yeah. And here's where it gets interesting. There has been over $2.5 billion in insider sales over the past 12 months.
$2.5 billion.
Billion, yes, including CEO Alexander Karp selling $50 million in May 2025. Now, these sales were conducted through Rule 10b5-1 plans. Those are the pre-scheduled trading arrangements designed to avoid insider trading allegations. So it's planned selling.
Right, the pre-scheduled plans.
Exactly. But still, the sheer scale of the sales, it does raise questions about executive confidence at these current valuation levels. It's not necessarily a signal of, imminent doom, but it's something investors should definitely be aware of and factor into their analysis.
That insider selling is definitely something to keep an eye on, even with the 10b5-1 plans in place. Okay, looking forward then. What are the key upcoming catalysts? Short-term, long-term, what could influence Palantir's trajectory?
Okay, short term, within the next 6 months or so. The Q2 2025 earnings report is obviously a key event. Expected revenue guidance is around $934–938 million, so they're looking for continued strong growth momentum. There's also the Russell Index rebalancing. Palantir is expected to be promoted to the Russell 1000 Top 200. That could potentially drive institutional buying as index funds have to adjust their holdings.
That's of buying flows, right?
Precisely. Looking longer term, say 12 plus months out, there are multiple federal contracts up for renewal in the 2025-2026 cycle. That's crucial given how much revenue comes from government. Palantir is also seen as a potential beneficiary of that massive $1.8 trillion AI market growth and maybe even metaverse infrastructure development down the line. Further commercial market penetration, healthcare, energy, financial services, along with international expansion opportunities. Those are also significant long-term catalysts that could help maybe justify that high valuation over time.
Those are some powerful potential tailwinds that could certainly propel them forward. But as with any investment, there are inherent risks. Beyond the valuation risk we've hammered home, what other risks does the analysis highlight that investors really need to be acutely aware of?
It prompts the important question for investors. Are they truly prepared for the risks that come with such a high-flying stock? Beyond the obvious stock-specific valuation risk that it's priced for perfection, little room for error, there's also significant government dependence. 42% of their revenue from the U.S. government. That creates concentration risk. What if federal spending gets cut or policies shift?
That's a big chunk.
It is. There's also increasing competitive pressure. You've got established giants like Microsoft and Google leveraging their own vast resources in AI and data, and specialized competitors like Snowflake are nipping at their heels too.
So competition heating up.
Definitely. On the macro side, high growth, high valuation stocks like Palantir are inherently vulnerable to rising interest rates, makes future earnings less attractive today. There's also the risk that maybe AI demand growth could slow down or just fail to meet these really elevated expectations as the market matures. That would directly hit their growth narrative.
Okay. Operational risks.
Yeah, talent retention can be a challenge. High compensation costs, fiercely competitive tech labor market. Keeping the best people is expensive. And in a rapidly evolving AI landscape, there's always the risk of technology obsolescence if they don't innovate constantly. And finally, there's reputational risk. Those ongoing concerns about government surveillance applications that could potentially affect commercial market acceptance. Some companies might be wary.
That's a really comprehensive look at both sides of the coin. So let's bring it home. What does this all mean for you, the potential investor listening right now? How should someone approach Palantir Technologies, given everything we've just discussed?
Bringing it all together, the analysis concludes that Palantir represents, well, a compelling long-term growth story, genuine technological advantages, expanding market opportunities, that's all there. However, those current valuation levels demand that investors have really strong conviction in the company's ability to execute flawlessly over multiple years. It is explicitly not recommended for short-term trading. Just too much volatility, too much valuation risk for that.
Okay, so long-term focus. What about entry points?
For an entry strategy, the analysis suggests an optimal range for new positions would be somewhere between $90 and $110. That represents a 25–30% discount from current levels, giving you a better margin of safety. For long-term investors, dollar cost averaging, gradually accumulating shares during volatile periods, maybe around the $100 to $120 range, could be a sensible approach.
And how much should someone consider allocating?
Position sizing. Well, given the high volatility and valuation risk, a conservative allocation would be maybe 2–3% of a portfolio maximum. However, for investors with a very high risk tolerance and a very long-term horizon, maybe up to 5% could be considered, but that's aggressive.
Got it. Any trading guidance, like stop losses?
Yes, for risk management, a stop loss order around $90 to $95 is recommended. That represents a critical technical support breakdown level. If it breaks below that, the picture changes. For take profit levels, maybe taking partial profits at $150 to $160. That's about 15–20% upside from current levels. A full take profit target could be $180 to $200, which aligns with that long-term technical target.
And the time horizon.
Minimum 2–3 years. You really need to give the fundamental growth time to hopefully catch up with or at least support that valuation. For those considering options, maybe covered calls at $140 to $150 strikes for existing shareholders to generate some income. Or perhaps cash secured puts at $110 to $150 strikes as a way to potentially acquire shares at lower prices if they do drop. Ultimately, the key success factors for Palantir boil down to continued commercial market penetration, sustained government contract growth, successful expansion into new areas, all while maintaining those impressive growth rates and consistently improving profitability metrics. It is. The investment thesis is pretty clear. It's best suited for growth-oriented portfolios with 3-plus-year investment horizons, and importantly, a tolerance for significant drawdowns. You might see 30–50% pullbacks during market corrections with a stock like this.
What a deep dive into Palantir Technologies. It's clear this isn't a simple yes or no answer at all. It's a really nuanced opportunity requiring careful consideration of both its powerful technological advantages and its very demanding valuation. For you, the listener, this really highlights the critical importance of understanding a company's fundamentals, its market position, its risks, looking far beyond just a stock price ticker.
Precisely. And it sort of begs the question for future exploration, doesn't it? How do we as investors truly balance the undeniable excitement around disruptive technology, especially AI right now, with the necessary discipline of sound valuation? It's a tension that really defines much of today's market, I think.
A great thought to leave with. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We hope this has given you a clearer, more informed perspective on Palantir Technologies. Until next time, keep learning, keep asking questions, and keep making informed decisions.